Oh, thank you. Can you hear me? I wanted to make it clear to the panel that even the United Nations Security Council made it clear to Turkey that their bombing of Syria is practically not legitimately recognized. In other words, they're moving for international law to make the standard known to the world that this is our situation. If we do not agree to the UN Security Council's initiative to stop Turkey's or any other country to invite Syria, that we do literally go into a nuclear confrontation. And anybody who does not take a stand or understands that that is the crucial realm that we're entering are literally are not thinking. So my question to the general in particular, don't you think that this policy or regime change will get us killed, literally?
Well, I'm no fan of regime change policies, and I expressed my concern several years ago with respect to Libya. I didn't like I thought we acted prematurely in Libya because we didn't know what was going to happen next. So I'm concerned about regime change policies. You may have seen, it's kind of embarrassing to say this, but I guess the most famous thing I've ever said is I was quoting a Pentagon document that was relayed to me that said that at some point, thinking in the Pentagon in 2001 was that they were going to start with Syria and go with Iraq and go to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Sudan, Somalia, and go back to Iran and change the regimes in all these countries. And it's a recipe for catastrophe in the region. You just can't do things like that. But in the case where Bashar al-Assad is right now, I think you have to make a distinction between Bashar al-Assad's family and himself and the institutions of the state. The problem in Iraq was when we went in there, we didn't think this thing through early. I say we, it was the people in the Pentagon at the time. And they declared the Ba'athists couldn't hold office, and they got rid of the institution of the armed forces in Iraq. So those were the institutions that's how the state was held together. So you can't do that in Syria. I think everybody understands that in Syria. People have to still be able to deliver mail. They have to provide services like water and power to the population and so forth. So you're not going to get regime change the way it was done in Iraq. But you can't have Bashar al-Assad remaining in power with a relationship with Iran and end the conflict. Neither Turkey nor Saudi Arabia will actually end the conflict that way. All they'll do is redirect it. So they'll feed more weapons in, they'll put more forces in, because they can't. Iran has a special relationship to Turkey. They are regional superpowers, and they're connected by the Kurds. And so anytime the Iranians think the Turks are getting out of line, they simply open the tap and put some more weapons and money in to the Kurds. And they have plenty of ways to do it. It's been going on for 45 or 50 years that we know of in the United States, and probably a lot longer than that. And so Turkey doesn't want to be surrounded by Iran. It cuts off Turkey's economics, and it introduces an element of coercion and corruption into Turkey's efforts to modernize. So you can't solve this problem with slogans. You can't solve it with a ceasefire. And it really does go back to Sykes-Picot. And somehow Iran, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia are going to have to agree on what the government of Syria looks like, how it aligns itself, what its economic and military policies are. Unless there's a real agreement on this, conflict is guaranteed to continue.
Cooperation.
I'm sorry, that's it. We're taking a last question. There's a gentleman in the back in the center, yes.
John Clark, quick question.